Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another cast from the Winter Cup 2025. Today we have the match for the third place, Hoffnung versus Graash. And I'm not alone, as usual. I have, on the one hand, Slappy Davis. Hello.
Hey, it is awesome to be here. Super excited to see this, and I I know that third place matches sometimes have like a strange reputation. I think they're really fun, so I'm excited.
And on the other hand, we have the one who invented parting, I guess. It's Martini.
Hey, I wouldn't say I invented it. I know I did a lot for, I guess, innovation, and I know these guys that we're about to see love their pathing as well, so I'm excited to see this matchup.
Yeah, Graash against Hoffnung. So, what do you think about those plays?
So Graash is more of a veteran, I would say. I know he loves his etiquette and his data. He loves to do science on his streams. Hoffnung, a little newer to the scene, but I like his eagerness to learn. I know he asks a lot of questions and he does a lot of research of his own. So I think I would personally go with Grosh here. I don't know about you, Slappy, but I think it has the potential to be a close one.
Yeah, I just think Grash is in this interesting spot in the community where I don't know if Grash has really taken any major tournaments. I don't believe he has, but he's always been super solid and always given, oftentimes, the actual winner a really hard time. He's often been someone who has gone out right around this level of like third to fourth place, and just been super consistent. So I would also agree. I think that Grash is favored here. I think that he's experimental while like really covering his weaknesses, and I think he's really tough to crack fully.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely has taken a lot of games off of some very good players. So I guess we can get into the draft now. So let's start off with the bands. Looks like actually, let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm taking a second to figure this out now. So we got Aquarium. I guess it's more just picks. Aquarium 4 of 8, Balcony 2 of 3 was banned. Um,
Well, we have a little draft list, like a summary for us. So we have
oh, I see.
uh, Grash bans Balcony, Hoffnung bans Aquarium, and then so those are the two bands. Balcony and Aquarium are the bands in there, and uh, not entirely surprising. Balcony is just kind of like a classic ban. It's actually kind of like it's like ban fodder often when it's in these venue pools. So no real surprise there. And Aquarium, very, very common ban. Less so for the same reasons as Balcony. Balcony often banned just because it's not a popular map and oftentimes seen as kind of coin flippy. So sometimes players just don't want that randomness out of there. Aquarium is just very tech heavy. And oftentimes, if someone doesn't specialize in Aquarium, they kind of want it gone. I will note, though, very, very happy that Redwoods is sneaking through. It looks like because oh wait, no, it's not going to sneak. It's not going to sneak through. Darn! I'm reading. I realized there's a second layer of bans. Ah, too bad. Okay, well we'll move on then to so Hoffnung bans Aquarium and then doubles Gallery, and Graph doubles Ballroom and then singles Terrace. And then Hoffnung singles Pub and bans Redwood. Graash then bans Courtyard and singles Library. Then we have Hoff singling High Rise and banning Veranda, and Graash bans Modern. That is, I don't. It's been a while since I've played in a tournament. That is the craziest ban sequence. There are so many bans in this at this level. That's kind of cool. I mean, that makes it uh, there's a lot of different kinds of like approaches that you have in this one. Has the whole tournament had this many bands stages? Just in bracket, okay.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting format. I guess Taeyeon just gets left out or possibly in overtime. But yeah, overall impressions of the draft, a good mix of venues. We don't see any of the occlusion get through, like you mentioned, Aquarium and Redwoods are out of there. So it's probably less cheesy, more straightforward plays, although, Gallery and Ballroom certainly have their guest-based occlusion to worry about. And then you also have some good pathing, like around corners and stuff. Pub and Library have their pathing quirks, and you also have Terrace, which is a very behavioral venue. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. I would consider so the one that is maybe is high rise A3 of 7 guaranteed microfilm swap or just straight up A3 of 7. Just normal 3 out of 7. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna curious to see what high rise looks like. Um, but other than that, pretty interesting. Oh wait, no, library's any 4 of 8. Awesome. Super happy that that got through. I did not even register that. I didn't even know that that was in here. I'm very excited for library any 4 of 8. Honestly, I still think it'll be sniper friendly. I think that any 4 of 8. I want to see how many guests are on it before I fully commit to whether or not I will actually like that exact setup. But I do think that that's going to be really nice to mix in there. So other than that, venues that are mostly kind of standard that they've gotten used to, um, but a couple of curveballs in there.
Yeah. I guess we can move on and get into game number 1. All right. So we have Hoffnung on Mrs. O, also known as Irish, on Spy, playing
Wait.
in 3. Oh,
Oh, nope, never mind. Sorry, we're good. The arrow was above text and the highlight. The very first part of the screen, there's like text is highlighted in green, but that's just because that's where the laser is. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I'm on that one as well.
all good. Tex disguising as the spy, but 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so we get a really nice flirt at the beginning. That is just fortunate. Like if there's no ambassador at the front, or like honestly, basically, it's just if there's ambassadors not at the front, you honestly don't really look at the front windows unless you're worried about an initial time ad. So I don't know if we'll have any sort of pairing from that at all, unless Graash was just noting who could have possibly time ad from the beginning. So I think that's a nice little start right there. And we end up being next to our seduction target again in a conversation circle. So we are already up to 85%. And that is a big hurdle for Gallery. So we have lots of options here.
Yeah, it's so nice to just get 85% out of the way in the first 30 seconds. That is quite a bottleneck on some games in this venue. It looks like Hoffnung is setting up in front of this blue painting, maybe thinking about a bug or a fingerprint, noting that it's on that front statue right there.
And something that Graash, I think, will pay a little bit of attention to on Gallery is, oh yeah, let's go grab that statue and finish flirts. This is really cool. Yeah, absolutely. I fully feel this. Hopefully, Graash is not on this because this is very, very spy-like if you could have the pairing yet, but I think it's too early. I don't think the pairing's going to be done yet. Graash does do a little dip onto us to... is that a fake highlight? We already got highlight, so I don't really know what he did that dip onto us for.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Graash does like his mind games, but now we're stepping into the back bookshelf. Kind of pretty good cover from that conversation. Now it looks like we might be going for a microfilm.
We do have really good cover. Our head is going to be highlight. Okay, we do not actually go for that right there. Okay, we're at a weird spot with Ambassador now. So Ambassador's gonna be grabbing book, and it's gonna be leaving a fingerprint there. unless they walk away with the book right now, and then we could return it normally in there. So if we do return the book after Ambassador puts it back, we're going to be smudging it. Oh, well, Ambassador actually walks away. So we might be able to, if we wanted to, we could do like a strange little thing and return it, grab another book later, that kind of thing. But we could just do it direct at some point. We are going to be hitting some
Ooh,
time issues. Oh, is there a
I
big padding tell on that one?
no, I wonder if Graash saw that because Ambassador was reading his book, so Hoffnung should have stopped returning his briefcase much earlier than that. But he walked right up next to the Ambassador. Graash might have noticed that.
That is a good point. You're right. Right, because you actually see the very beginning of the reading animation. I remember, like when he was reading at Windows, I didn't even realize he was reading. Sometimes the characters look down just because they're doing wash checks and whatnot. So we'll see if that gets covered. Um, and Ambassador does go dump that book. Behaviorally, if we go return this book, technically, oh, we don't want to go return it. Oh, yeah, we're just gonna do it direct, and I don't hate it because we would have to go next to our seduction target again to do it. But Graash has that memorized. That's a little bit of a bummer. I don't know about the inspect play into microfilm just in general because we knew we had been highlit unless that was the fake second maneuver that Graash did. So it would be highlit um, and trying to do either a direct or an action test. You just don't. Highlights and microfilms just don't mix in general.
Yeah, and I think we just saw on the replay Grash's perspective from when we tried to return the briefcase to Ambassador. He actually flashed the safety, so I think he did notice that, and we were pretty much a dead spy walking at that point.
Yeah, totally. Well, too bad. I do like that start, but Graash able to take it, but also not entirely surprising. I would expect that Hoff should be able to grab this one as well, but we'll see what Graash is able to do. Looks like he's on Duke.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so of course we are Duke on Gallery, so reverse bugs are going to be a strong option for us here. I think it's actually a little bit of a habit of Graash to grab Duke on Gallery. So we'll see if there's anything that comes into play there. But that's what Graash will probably be looking for. But of course, you cannot guarantee that kind of at all that there'll be any good swings at that position. So we'll just be wandering around and trying to probably go. Actually, time ad looks like the play.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. We're out here, the seduction target is actually going back inside. So we're going to get a late start to flirt, so Graash decides now is not the time.
Yeah, we'll see if he regrets that because I agree with you where seduction target was all clogged up. I don't what I don't mind is kind of putting myself into these positions where we are going to be stepping into green bookcase and there is not really great cover of our arm. We're just doing a straight cheese, just direct, and there's lots of stuff going on. Ambassador is in motion in the back. It looks like there might have been a couple of rejects going on for Purloin, and Hoff is looking pretty closely at that. So that seems to be entirely clean, and that I do prefer that approach to microfilm on gallery as opposed to the way that we had played it previously, where Hoffnung just kind of like had a highlight and then like had the book for a while in a suspicious position, was already being looked at to see if there was an action test that had happened when he was there, and kind of stick it on memory a little bit more. So big risky move by Graash, could have immediately gotten shot, but seems like we got away with that clean.
Yeah, I agree. I think an early transfer is very strong if you can get away with it because you're not. Because after that, especially against a good mission tracker, when you can get those soft tells done and they don't have that fourth mission count, yeah, you can get away with a lot of suspicion but without conviction.
Absolutely. And the other part of what we did there is we spent like no time with that book at that shelf. Sometimes people will hang out at that bookcase, maybe fake a return into the bookcase and walk away with it, and then just go do a quick little redirect. But it kind of just took opportunity with the amount of activity going on with Toby and Ambassador that was just like I just don't think I'm gonna be looked at kind of like at all. I'm just gonna be a head in the background moving. Could look even just like a normal path. But now we have Seduce, Transfer done, and a Fingerprint. This feels like a pretty straightforward path here for Graash. It seems like it's going to be difficult for Hoffnung to come back from unless he's going to be willing to shoot for that second Fingerprint plus Banana Bread.
Yeah, at this point, Graash just has to be careful about his etiquette and hope that he's not
Banana
credited
bread.
for those fingerprints. There goes a BB, a pretty good one. Feels like half of the ones who were already out were low-lit anyway. So now Graash is just a fingerprint away from winning.
We do a little bit of a path around Ambassador. We are going to be sliding. Oh, but a good little redirect at the end there. Unfortunately, we're right back next to our seduction target. It would be really funny if we had been paired, but I don't think we really have been. Yeah, it would definitely look like. I'm curious if Wheels will actually look like Wheels is flirting with us. That'd be something interesting to see to keep in mind if Wheels gets any credit in there. But it just feels like a mission win's going to happen in here. Has Ambassador?
Yeah.
Ambassador doesn't have the briefcase though,
Oh, he
so.
does.
Oh no, sorry, he does. He does. He just doesn't walk around. He didn't set it down. All right, so we are just going to be hunting Ambassador down, hoping that he sets it down. We might even have to go into overtime, honestly.
Yeah, or we go for some kind of bug since we are playing Duke, but we turn around and there's the bug attempt. Oh, it's seen. But he's watching the statue. He's not watching our arm.
He's just hovering right over us. He's just staying there. Oh my god. Graash probably was sweating so much at the end there where there was just a laser on top of us and not moving. But it looks like we were expecting something else. So yeah, I do think that was the right call. It's just kind of unfortunate for Graash there at the end that we weren't able to try to force that fingerprint. That's a long time for there not to be a briefcase set down. And then he set it down in such a way that honestly, bug was the more correct choice. We could have tried to grab the briefcase from right next to Ambassador, but that's probably more attention grabbing than even just doing the bug at the end there. Um, why were we watching that statue so closely, given that there was a low light being picking it up? I wonder if there was someone there before.
Well, I think he was watching Seek for a potential last-second swap in that very front statue that spies like to finish on. And this bug, I want to talk about it for a bit. So he wanted the print from the blue bookshelf, but of course he got redirected off and he wasn't about to jam himself in there. And then on the bug, he wants to kind of wrap around Ambassador so his arm is never to the camera. But then Salmon occupies that space next to Amba, so he ends up like turning the other way and just swinging his arm way in front of the sniper. So very, very fortunate that Seek was occupying that statue in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that like when arms swing around, I do think that there's a little bit like I think that he was just reacting and trying to bury the arm as much as possible. Sometimes arms, if they swing around a lot really quickly, if you don't see that just the vector is wrong, sometimes that just looks like hands in motion, right? Like things are just like kind of bouncing around. So by kind of like quickly, we only saw the arm out for a short amount of time, but it was very very out there when it was out there. So little both lucky and then unlucky for Graash there that he didn't get the straightforward win that he was looking for, but that Hoffnung happened to be preoccupied during the critical point because if there wasn't someone he was looking for statue, usually you just kind of like you're guarding Amba and Purloin. That's kind of it at the end there.
Yep. And now let's move on to game 3. Back on Spy is Hoffnung, this time with Teal. And 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So we've had a lot of microfilm plays so far. We do have an interesting. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful! This is all AI, by the way. AI directed us here. Seduction target came to us. Hoffnung has not been hurting for ST luck. I will say that so far. So I am hoping that we're able to sequence our missions a little bit better than we did last late game because we are getting great pace on our flirts, which is often something that can throw players off.
Yep. And General leaves us, which means we don't have to wait around for a timer flirt. So now we are left considering our options. Ambassador leaving a print on the same statue as Hoffnung's first spy game as we head our way inside, and General, unfortunately, oh, well, now our General's going to the same statue that Disney was at in our first spy game as well. And it looks like we're going
going
for
to
a
win the
print.
race. Yes, we are, and we're gonna get it, and then we're gonna immediately set down by the time that we'd have the thing. Yep, there we go. So we will not have we won't have the hook potentially for the late set down in the previous game. We are going right back to that same spot. I I mean, okay, so the teal often does. Oh, I saw a couple of flashes on there. That's very interesting. It was kind of low. It almost looked like the flashes were near double agent at the time. I don't know if you have any insight into that. If anything happened there.
I'm not sure. Graash doesn't really flash on his targets. He just tends to flash his
Banana
sniper when
red.
he sees something, so it's not always clear what he's seeing. But there goes a BB knocking out a decent number of people, but it is real for us, so it is mission progress.
Yeah, that's actually quite a nice BB. It knocks out some people, but it also there is SDA in the front, so we do spread out a good amount in here. We do have. Ooh, was that another flash? I am interesting little turnaround right there from Double Agent. Just happened to be right at the right time. How is he keep? Does he keep flashing? I keep swearing that he keeps flashing on things.
Yeah, I think uh, it might partially be like a memorization thing. I know sometimes he flashes on. Oh, interesting. Okay, now I don't know what he's doing. He just flashed on Seek and immediately lowered him.
That is interesting. Graash does do experiments like this, and it would not be the worst time to try out something like you could do like a physical memory technique where, as you're doing one action, you also do the shift that narrows your vision. I wonder if there's like an unconscious kind of thing there. It's probably nothing. It's probably just that he's zooming in, and that he was just also doing that at the same time. I guess it's not a bad habit if you're low lighting. It's a bad habit if you flash and highlight though, because then you can accidentally shoot. So as long as we're clean on that, I guess it's not too bad for us. Um, in the meantime, we do need to actually pick up the rest of our flirt in here. We go back to this conversation. Unless we're purloining, I really don't see. Okay, there is the request. Well, did that skip over anybody? There is going to be a green purloin. The problem that we have here is we actually need two flirts if we want to finish with flirt. The next person is going to be the taker. Very clear green test. So don't know if there was a reject chain before us. I think there was. So might create some problems for Graash in here. Selection target does join us, so we are able to get to 88%. We do not have time to timer flirt, so we are going to leave. We're probably going to be noted for our activity here. If we are being, 50-50 between us and another person here, we probably are the more likely of the two because we're going to return to the same-ish position in the conversation circle and talk again. And that's going to be like us flirting with like kind of anybody in that circle, and there is going to be overtime. The flirt does happen. We're going to have like 4 or 5 seconds of overtime. We seem to be hovering near us. We actually need to dance, I think, if we have any chance of that one. We are found at the end there. Not a terrible finish there from Hoffnung. I would be very interested to know if there wasn't overtime, if Graash would have been able to take that shot. But with overtime and enough overtime of like 5 seconds, it felt pretty comfortable for him.
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking at the game log, and Graash actually took this shot before overtime, in his perspective, I believe, with 0.2 seconds left. So I think he was pretty confident, just behaviorally. Like he had the prints, um, and he also had real. So it must have taken some serious patience to not shoot him earlier. But I think the two consecutive talks at the end was enough to convince him that that was his last mission.
Interesting. That overtime shot is so close to zero. I think Graash actually intended it to be a lag overtime shot. Like you actually only goes off if there was overtime and just kind of like covering his bases. So I'm curious if that was him just feeling really confident or if that's actually just like a slight misplay on his part there where he needed to actually pause, a couple tenths a second more. It looks like there is about a second of lag between the two, though, and I did notice that at the end of the previous or the Duke game, where we were completely hovered over without moving, and I was like, oh, okay, that the complete stillness part of that is not lining up a shot. It's that there's just the overtime lag. The sniper's camera stops moving.
All right. So that makes it 3-0 for Graash.
Yeah,
Now
indeed.
it's
We do need to pick up our sniper for sure. Like it would not be the end of the world if this is a 3-1 and we just drop one spy game, but if we start off 0-4 on gallery, very winnable as sniper, that's going to feel a little bit rough.
yeah, 3-0 not as bad as it looks if two of your losses were on spy. And it only means you're one win away from coming back, one spy win. So let's see if he can at least keep it within one game. Graash on spy, 3, 2, 1, playing it. Game likes to spawn them next to their STs.
Yeah, isn't that? It's been funny that there's been like not a problem. Well, I guess actually technically it was still a problem for Hoffnung because that was the last mission we needed to finish, and so even though we've started off quickly in that one, gallery just it's got 4 minutes, but those 4 minutes actually really fly by when it comes to seduction targets. So Graash does hit the immediate 51%, so we could see the first two flirt. And in that case, if there's a two flirt, I expect Graash to be extremely aggressive. Graash does look like they're going for a timer flirt in here, which I didn't really run the math on if it's more likely if a seduction target will stay or leave. Oh, we're actually going to leave to take the opportunity to pick up this fingerprint briefcase. We might flirt. We are going to put down real quick because they're ambassador in motion. And we do not actually go do that little cheese flirt. I was kind of thinking we are going to try to do best of both worlds. Although it would be kind of like, suspicious looking for us to go right back in there and flirt. But Graash is feeling okay about their seduction progress so far and opts not to grab anything here. And looks like we are setting up for inspect, fingerprint, seduce, contact, finish.
Yeah, we have solid progress so far. I think I kind of like the option of like coming back here to swap for a finish. We have a large character that could easily obscure that, and we've already been there, so that might cover some suspicion as well. And now we're coming back out, probably to flirt and potentially to contact and even bug maybe if we're bold enough. But the ambassador leaves, so we're probably just going to go for a flirt here.
No, I think this is gonna be a rush of a different sort. If we hit this green test, we're gonna contact and inspect that front statue. And man, we're not gonna contact. Oh, okay, maybe we're not gonna rush. I guess Graash is like, okay, if I do that, I might actually get seen for that strong of a rush.
Oh,
Ooh, very interesting. Okay, so Hoff is aware that this person is finishing both inspects and flirt or sorry, a fingerprint. So there is going to be that suspicion on us. So we probably would have gotten shot if the banana bread had gotten off. So we are going to redirect ourselves on this one. I was curious if we try to take the bug on the way out. We do not. We actually go back to the same
well,
statue. Pretty fun right there.
there it is. There's the white swap. Oh, immediately lift it up. It's on screen, but it's not being watched despite the safety off earlier, and Graash gets
Second
away with
chance.
murder.
Graash does get away with murder in there. So nice counterintuitive play there. Really bad RNG though, like you're saying. We actually had two lifts on that one. So ironically, that was the statue. I believe that was the Seek statue in the first game. That statue lost us 2 games. It lost us the first game by blocking us from seeing Duke bug at the paintings, and it lost us the second game by being the swapped statue in the middle of the game. So not no full blame in there for not staring down the middle statue, but Graash does get away with it. I yeah, I do think that I don't know what I don't know what we were looking at if it wasn't for statue in that moment. Ambassador and Toby were next to each other, and I guess we could have been worried about red dress microfilming in the back and Queen. Oh, actually, Queen is stuck in there. Man, Queen and red dress. How are they both on that spot? That feels weird. I didn't think they actually could fit in that close because outside of Time of Chaos.
Um, Which moment are you talking about? Oh, the
At the swap
bookshelf.
moment, yeah, back in the bookshelf because I was trying to figure out what Hoff could be looking at, right? Because Toby and Ambassador are right next to each other and right next to the swap statue. So if I paused this screen, I'd be like, oh, this is terrible for the spy because almost everything that is actually watchable is right next to each other, right next to the swap that we're doing. But it is true that Queen and Red are kind of in a suspicious position back there.
Yeah, I do like Garash's decision to just go for the swap here. I think if you're going for Softails, like if you're just going for a standard Softail game, like Inspect Fingerprint, um, the swap finish can definitely be more unexpected than the contact. The contact gives the sniper a reason to shoot if you're already carrying that much suspicion. So I like the silent game choice there.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this is a tough start, no doubt for Hoff. And also, we've shown a variety of. Although I guess if Hoff takes anything away from this so far, Graash was behind the clock a little bit on that first game, and then went for just something very aggressive in that first game. So hasn't really tempted us out with a frame. So maybe there's something there, but probably nothing too much to that. So we will be stepping into ballroom, and I'm seeing custom for ballroom, but I'm trying to see what the difference is. Is it four
It might be
minutes
the time.
long?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
4
usually
minutes is long.
3:30. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I am for it. Yeah, I'm curious how this goes. 4 minutes. That is a long time for ballroom. Yeah, okay. So I guess let's jump into that game. I'm probably going to be like chattering about what I think the difference is going to be ballroom because 4 minutes is going to throw off a lot of the typical timers for that. But let's chat about that after we get into it.
Yep. Hoffnung playing as Mr. D, aka Kane. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So with 4 minutes on ballroom, the big thing that happens with basically any venue and adding extra time, other than just the fact that there's just more time for spies to do stuff, and so flirt is one of them, is that there are more second visit AIs at statues. So more AIs will complete inspect, and also more AIs are going to be in the threat of inspect swap completion near the end of the game, which I just find to be really fascinating. And I guess technically there's more AIs finishing fingerprint. I think that's less of an impact than the number of AIs that be finishing inspect though. So that's gonna be a really significant deal. Frames are gonna be much stronger, or just the chaos, I guess, near the end of the game on ballroom is a lot stronger. There's be a lot of AI who could have finished flirt, are finishing inspects. Maybe they were in a conversation with a double agent, and snipers are worried about, okay, did they bug at some point? Did they miss something like that?
Yeah, it certainly affects the spy's pacing as well. Gives you a little more luxury in terms of when to take your flirts and not have to rush things quite as much. Although against pathing snipers, it can be a bit of a double-edged sword since you might end up giving them more time to eliminate the AI and giving them more opportunities to get low lit, even if they are getting more mission progress as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another big one for ballroom is the windows of time of which contacts are good. Sometimes are also just like a time resource thing. Like there's a certain amount of time that you have that you could like. Okay, the best contact is like right. Let's see right now. What's this contact look like? Not that great, honestly. Pretty bad now, actually, especially. So right now is probably not the best time for a contact unless you're like finishing, where you're like, okay, I'm down to like these last 4 people, and maybe if I don't think that you think that there's mission progress done, I think I'll just get away with this timer, even if I'll be top of your list at the end of the game. But that extra 30 seconds does give you more flexibility on looking for time windows where contact is good, because ballroom contacts are often like either really good or just like terrible, and sometimes you're forced into taking some pretty bad banana breads in here. Like right now, this is almost certainly the time to either throw down a fake or go and join that other conversation circle.
Yeah, maybe not liking it just because Seek is at center statues and he just wants him to be in. Maybe we'll see it now. still holding it. We haven't done much besides seduce and take that first fingerprint. We do have the extra time, but are we going to go for more? No, we're going to the bookshelf.
Yeah, we'll see if we regret not taking that fake at least. Like I would have like a reflex, like almost like a Tourette's like thing of just being like, I need to take this banana bread. I must say banana bread if there's that many people in conversation
Yeah,
at that point.
and on the sniper side, I would be wondering, why is there no banana bread?
Yes, yeah, exactly. We do get bumped up for suspicion on that for some reason. I don't know if that was the collision with Amba or if we thought there was a bug there. It wouldn't have been enough
Banana
time for a
bread.
bug, I don't think. We do hit the banana bread at this point. So there are... Oh, yep, just a shot. So let's see, what was that highlight for? I don't know if you saw anything in that moment, but right before the highlight happened, if there's a pathing. It was a stealth highlight, actually. So I am really curious what that shot is for because it actually seems to have been... we were actually waiting for it. And... Huh. Yeah, I don't have any theories. Do you have anything?
Banana bread.
Nothing other than behavioral. I know Hoffnung has been going for a lot of early prints, and we did get one in this game, so maybe we were just keeping an eye on him, watching out for a potential last-minute finish, and whatever it was, if it was pathing to confirm, I guess that was enough to take the shot there.
I'm trying to see if there was also like a... I guess... Was it really that there was a broken putback? Because it does look like there's a slight break on the putback, but that just feels like we wouldn't be looking at that moment. Yeah, interesting. Well, regardless, Graash is able to find the shot. We were in a hole in that one for sure. So sometimes the mysterious shots where the game just kind of ends are just like a real big bummer for the spy because they're just about to win if it weren't for that, and they just like no ways to expect they're about to get shot. But we actually did need to do a couple of things in that one. So I don't think Hoff is going to feel too burned by getting shot early there.
Yeah. So next, Graash back on Spy as Mrs. H, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right. The other thing you can do with extra time is you can add time. So, we are immediately rushing that flirt and bailing. So we do have the 51% immediately. Hoff was swinging over in that direction, so I'll be curious to see if they happen to register that motion had happened, but we don't have a highlight so far at the very least, so it feels clean.
Yeah, it's great to start with that in our pocket. Very hard to catch chaos flirts unless you're, like OPN, well known for doing it. And even then, there's just too many things to pay attention to at the beginning of the game that it's certainly worth it if you get that kind of positioning to start with. We might
Yeah,
just finish
absolutely.
flirt here.
There's just something funny about Graash, I think. I don't know if this is just I feel like it, but like Grash's green test rate goes way up if he's finishing a two flirt. Like all of a sudden, then he is incredibly good at greens. Although, as I say that, he's hitting a bunch of greens on these inspects, so maybe it's just normal and he just actually has a sneakily good green rate. We are gonna yeah. I guess Graash is just feeling the greens right now for sure. As we go in for this green swap, we're gonna be standing nearby to try to block. I think. We'll see what happens when the call happens. I think we are. Are we close enough to do the block on the call? Looks like it. Yeah, we are close enough to
Yeah, I
do the
guess
block on
so.
the call. I thought we had to be a little bit further out there, but we're actually in a pretty good spot in this conversation. Usually, when I think of like blocking calls,
Banana
you have to
bread.
be really close to the edge of the conversation circle to block it. But no, we're step in, and the call has not happened yet. We're going to put all sorts of time between us and the call. We're even to get this contact, which is that's just fortunate that the double agent's in there when we do this because we're in this conversation circle not for the contact but for the block on the green swap. So Hoff has to be aware of this possibility, this tech right here. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty tough for Hoff to bring this one up.
Yeah, I mean, we could even go to the center statue and continue to block it as we finish inspects. I'm not actually sure if someone just coincidentally goes to that statue, if it gets swapped or not. I don't know if we'll find out either, but we can just stay here pretty much, for another minute if we want.
That's a great question. I think it doesn't. I think it doesn't get it doesn't happen because I believe you can stand. I think it's the same as standing in the pad. I could be wrong about that.
Mm.
Where you can if you stand in the pad at the exact moment the green happens, they actually won't swap it. And if you walk away before they finish their other cycle, they might swap it in the next cycle. But you can actually like block a full visit by standing in the same pad as them. So that's my
Yeah.
guess. We are walking away, so the call is going to happen.
I think, yeah, we wanted to be next to Amba so that he's watching us instead of the statue. And there goes the swap, finally. Oh, and we're getting safety off on. Did he see the swap?
I think he might have thought there was a bug. But we will see about the swap though, because if Hoff is aware of the tech, then absolutely the shot can come off, come off, come off. But we'll see if this happens. I do think this is interesting. That are we purloining? We are
Another
purloining.
green.
Are we gonna go inspect during this purloin? This is a very strange way to finish this out, right? You would think that you would go for the inspects. The purloin does happen. We are trying to get a look at it. It actually is gonna. Yes, we are gonna get shot. That's that's a that's a counterintuitive and strange way to end that game. I feel like if we go all in on the inspect or the swap block, the natural next move is just like it either worked or it didn't. And me going back and inspecting is the thing. Now that said, we might have gotten shot for that the inspect regardless because it seemed like we might have been suspected for a bug or something when we had that safety off on us. So it seems like we were dead either way. But in general, strange follow up to my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stall tech was working pretty well for us, and around 110 remaining, we see Amba in the conversation alone, and we want to go like next to him, like close enough where we could bug, but then Amba bails, so we decide to follow him to continue to distract from that statue, but he happens to go somewhere where there's really good cover and the sniper just can't see, so it kind of backfires on us. We get credited with a bug, and it just draws even more suspicion towards us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe sometimes Graash also might. It's like with any player, right? Where any player who snipes in a certain way often will overestimate the other their opponent's attention to certain details. And Graash does not like doing, let's say, the most common version of a finish after he has a certain start. Because I think when he plays players that like kind of have like so intuited a certain path, a certain like game theory path after a start that they just like shoot for archetypes of games, and that Graash really tries to avoid those. But then it kind of got us into a different version of trouble and that other thing. So interesting game there. Really cool though, Stalltech. That actually, again, that worked out really beautifully for us. The contact also really just kind of like sealed it for me. The fact that we were able to do all of that really made it seem like we weren't just in that conversation for Stalltech. So I did enjoy that. But like, congrats to Hoff on finding that shot, and hopefully that is a shot in the arm for him as well as he steps onto Spy.
Yep, that was his first step to recovering the score in this match. Now he is back on Spy, this time as Smallman. So now you know he's really in for it. Starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's honestly, it has been a while since I've seen a true Smallman cheese game. It's been so long. I'm actually kind of desperate for one. I just feel like it's just this thing that just hasn't. I haven't seen it. It's probably happened, I'm sure, right? But it feels like people are avoiding it too much now. Like it's become too much of a thing that it should be brought back.
Yeah, and I think this venue, like ironically, the venues where Smallman isn't as suspicious, like Ballroom, are actually more popular for Smallman now because of the reasons you mentioned. Like people just give him too much attention on places like Gallery or Tayan.
Yeah, and it's true that like if you get burned by a Smallman game, you watch Smallman really closely for like next like 10 times you're on that venue. But I do think that like it's been a while. Like I don't think if I jump back into playing, I don't know if I would pay that much attention to Smallman for Smallman stuff. For like hiding in the back of conversation circles, trying to sneak into get in swaps and all that kind of stuff. We do have an early flirt though again. So once again, we do have some nice early progress, and seduction target has not been a problem so far for us. So if we wanted to follow up, go over to that conversation circle, pick up that flirt. No contact over there though, but Instead, we opt for a fingerprint. So we will see what we end up doing outside of that. I'm trying to think if Graash has been super on top of fingerprints so far. It seemed like he did notice the first time we tried, but ooh, I'm curious if we get credit for a bug while we're back there. We were completely invisible.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if we should have gone for it anyway, but we do start with the print as we usually do, and Graash has shot us every time, so presumably he's been paying attention at least to some degree, and now we only get 2 inspects here, but we are highlight, and we're going to just finish it right now. Oh, and we actually swapped as well.
All right, and we are going for a side visit of our own, so we are also blocking a statue. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. Did we redirect Sari there? Was Sari the call? And did we push her out? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think she was getting called there. So we do a little bit of a stall.
Yeah, we do, and that's actually a pretty nice little stall because it brings a highlight into the center there. Hoffnung is watching that statue very closely. It does swap behind there, so we'll see. Sorry, Hoffnung. Graash is watching it very closely. I don't think Graash has a full realization. Oh man, if we had had that flirt done, I think we would be into it. Okay, so importantly,
I don't know if he
red
has
dress does
prints.
not get brought down. Oh no, totally. Like, we would be done if we had that. If we had the 100% on there, and that would be pretty strong in here. So now it seems to be down between just the two of us on the swap here, and it's going to be close.
I think the statue worked as cover for our second print.
Oh, I see what you're saying with the print. Yeah, you
Banana
might
bread.
be. I love the banana BM there at the end. Really good to see Hoffman feeling confident in that one. I think you might be right. You might be fully correct in there because if we were down to 2 suspects and one of them finishes fingerprints, you feel like you would just shoot that person just because they're like, even if you lose, you'd be like, I have to shoot them probabilistically. But that'd be pretty fun to distract from your fingerprint using a swap.
Yeah, I mean, when you usually think about, distraction plays, you think of, purloins or bugs, but fingerprint definitely a viable way, especially when it's a drink tray that's been kind of moving around for a while. I think there were like 2 rejects after Amba, so very opportunistic play by Hoffnung to take that win there.
Absolutely. Well, pretty cool in there. And in that particular game, I guess I'm kind of paying attention to how much time we have left on the clock. In that particular game, I think that would have ended kind of the same way, regardless, because we were at 48 seconds. We were going to be in the last 10 seconds. So pretty neat game there. Not just one that was given to us by the extra time. So pretty fun there indeed. And I'm just so curious if Hoffnung. I have tried to redirect paths from characters before. That's if he intentionally did a full block on that entire pad. That's just super cool. I would really love to pick up that tech.
Yeah, I see people do it on gallery as well, just walking over like a statue pad multiple times to knock people off. It's a solid delay strategy. So now let's move on. Graash back on Spy as Miss F, Alice in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so let's see. We got. I'm curious. I actually want to see what happens if the players actually use the extra time a little bit more, just like again the second visits or whatnot. But also just initially, I just want to say this venue doesn't feel unfair. The extra 30 seconds. This feels pretty good to me. Like again, like do I want us to keep having to add time over and over and over again to make spies have winnable chances? No, because I don't want sets to have to be that long. Like it's grueling enough. But I do think it feels pretty viable to me. This 4 minute.
Yeah, I think it's fine. This venue I think used to have like 15 guests, and it got added to 16. But at some point, it just gets too crowded, and adding 30 seconds to ballroom doesn't sound that intrusive. Oh, and we go for a back-to-back bug at the statue.
And that actually connected. I didn't think we were going to be close enough, but just did. That is excellent spacing. I was almost sure that just wouldn't take. Wow, great spacing. Excellent work by Graash there, and we have a back-to-back bug, and then we're just gonna. Well, okay. Well, so we are getting stared at for this, so it is possible that we're getting stared at for swap potential here, because if we're worried about the bug, we might just be. We are giving ourselves a lot of attention. Okay, so Graash is actually not out of the woods for sure.
Ooh. Yeah. I think that bug is suspected. We just got flashed on.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get shot even just for a second flirt. So for once, actually, we are a little bit slow on flirt this time. And Irish goes and visits that center statue. I wonder if oh, this would be so. I don't think this is going to be a thing. But I was like, what if we faked the delay on center statue swap so that we make the sniper worried that someone's going to go swap that statue? But that would be just so many different layers of trying to do that, because like Irish did go there kind of soon after we did there. It kind of could have looked like a call, and we were kind of nearby, not so near that we actually I think would have had the block on the call. But in the end, doesn't matter. Kind of a close thing to Sari there. We were really close to Sari's clothing as Sari's shoulder turned like right after that. Like that was very close to a miss shot. If Shari had gone a little bit sooner, but that said, I haven't seen a miss shot like that in a while, so people are pretty good about that. So nice on Hoffnung for pulling that together, and I want to see if that bug was caught by Hoffnung. It's pretty close. It feels pretty good, but we could just be aware that it could have happened.
Yeah, it's an impressive credit either way, even if it wasn't seen. And maybe behaviorally, like just going straight to statue, it just feels like the spy thinks it was a clean bug, and we just want to get our missions out of the way so we can flirt in contact.
Mm-hmm. You can just barely see the hand coming back to center. So we were swinging around, I think, because we were worried about potentially a bug happening there. Because I think we were watching boots that whole time as well. But yes, agreed. Whatever the reason we came in there, pretty impressive find by Hoffnung in there, and maybe feeling a little bit more momentum.
So Hoffnung does take a spy game back as we head to the next venue, which is Terrace. And Hoffnung back on Kane. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Trying to see if there's anything weird about this terrace. So 3 minutes, 30 seconds, A3 of 7. This feels like the normal amount, I guess. I think this is just normal any 3 of 7 terrace, but I'm like on the lookout for like fun different changes. But I think this is normal. Well, normal in the fact of the post, any 3 of like 5 and 6 era of terrace.
Right, yeah, pretty standard stuff. We start at the bar, we don't even take a purloin, we just reject and get a flirt done and head our way into one of the conversations.
Yeah,
this venue does often come down, people say it's like a coin flip, because, you either shoot the guy that purloined or the person that delegated the purloin, but I think, for certain snipers, there definitely is some pathing potential because it is quite open. We're actually setting up for pretty good contact here.
Yeah, and no, it's definitely not. Well, I also definitely agree, because it's better than 50-50, because sniper, I don't think sniper win rate's anywhere close down to 50-50. Often things will just go wrong. If you're able to force a true 50-50, I consider that just to be a totally legitimate thing for the spies to do. I have it's on this venue, just like there's just so little else happening. The low sniper angle and the congested conversation circles are interesting, and the dynamics around the fact of like you will get so many banana bread opportunities, and you oftentimes will just fake just for the sake of trying to give as many people credit as possible, so that you have the most ability to do a frame on someone that could have sent you, to give you the biggest pool of people to shoot to go for those 50-50s. But I do feel like this venue needs like one more thing at the very least to kind of throw something in the mix.
Yeah, I do like that this venue is unique in that the the double agent information is shared between the spy and the sniper, so they both know exactly who does and doesn't have real contact, which can lead to some interesting mind games.
Yeah, it's true. And like another kind of special venue in that regard is balcony, which we won't get to see, which is like you don't even know who the double agent is. I'd be really curious to ever see that in a different venue. Like it's so strong in any other circumstances that it feels hard to mix into a venue very easily. But I'm curious if we do have more situations like that where there is uh, 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 known DA is unknown, DA is known completely, and there's only one of them, and then having two known DAs, three known DAs, etc. Or sorry, the suspected DAs.
Yeah, it would be cool if it was like a custom setting and we could experiment with different setups like that.
Absolutely. One of the things that I tried to pitch way back in the day, when people were still cutting missions, which was dumb, was that if you cut banana bread, the SDs are returned to the suspect pool because banana bread it's such an automatic inclusion. By the way, we're just so low on time. We're probably losing this game. Sorry, I'm just doing theory crafting. We're in a lot of trouble here. We're probably just gonna do a rush Perla at the end and then hope for it. But we not even get the drink opportunity. We'll see. I don't think so. I think it's just gonna be a timeout. Yeah. Close though, close to forcing that, and we do end up timing out there. Bit of a bummer.
Yeah, despite all our theory crafting, I don't think we missed a whole lot. We did take a print, but we just ran out of opportunities at the end. We did delegate a purloin. Did we send it off? No, I don't think we did. Yeah, we just went for the straight purloin at the end and ran out of time.
Yeah, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's it takes more time for you to get to the bar, drink your drink, request the drink, and then get the purloin off than you think. It's very easy to underestimate that.
Oh,
So
actually, Hoffnung is saying there was a print at the bar, which he's correct about. But regardless, you still do need to get the drink, and then that even actually takes longer than purloining. So, yeah, we didn't get there in time.
that's fair. Yeah. All right. We got Graash in on Terrace. Same kind of situation for them. I think this is the only Terrace one, but we'll see if they're able to force anything out. They're probably going to do something framey, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
But yeah, for when there was a lot more cut missions, I did like that option. People thought it was going to be too strong, but it's like I don't know. I think it would just actually. I would love for there to be mission cutting again, if it wasn't just so terrible for the spy, and for it to be ooh,
That's interesting.
why? Huh? Any theories?
Uh, no, actually, we air control to the bar. We took a drink. I guess that's like not spy-like necessarily, although we're delegating. So, yeah, not sure because it wasn't even pathing really. It was just unless it was like a pad turning thing, but it didn't seem like anything special, at least in my eyes.
Yeah. Pad turning is a thing where it's like you do have to turn out of the pad to the right position, and that can be a thing. So I'm curious if we get brought back up now that the purloin has happened. If we remember that we were at the bar, so we're gonna see Hoff process this. He does low like Queen. I think Queen was at the bar. It looks like Queen didn't take a drink, so that's why she's getting the low light. And I mean the big moment is gonna be whether or not we get brought back up. Uh, but here's the interesting thing is, so if you go for an early purloin on Terrace, you do need the person you sent it to go flirt and to be in a conversation with Double Agent at some point, because like you said, it's known. So Graash has not won this for sure. They just probably won't get shot.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier because I actually didn't even notice that it was a direct purloin, but I guess I guess Hoffnung maybe thought the same thing, that maybe the list was either already gone or that he thought someone else had sent already. But yeah, it'll pretty much just come down to whether he realizes that all of these highlights are in fact not finishing missions.
Banana
Wait,
red.
so what about the direct? Did he direct and cover? Because he definitely sent general.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. So it was in fact a delegate. It happened so quickly that I thought I must have missed a direct, but yeah, he was low lit by the time he sent.
Right, exactly. So the low light happened early, and still not sure what that is. But right now, General's gonna be watching really closely. General is talking a lot, and that's gonna be really tempting for Hoff. But I actually forgot. Have we thrown in a contact yet?
We did a fake BB.
Was General
I think.
in?
I'm not sure. I think Kane was probably in. General was in. Yeah, General was in. He was the only highlight that has real.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty big hold for Hoff at this point, but General does have to go do something more. Honestly, right now, probably looking for timeout. Oh, but we could finish with a swap here if we really wanted to. I guess. Oh, we're not going to finish with a swap. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think we have time to do anything else besides that swap. I guess maybe just bug.
Yeah, we don't even have a print to finish on unless Ambassador
Banana
leaves
red.
right now.
Oh,
Okay.
contact right at the end. Oh God. We are able to at least cobble together a finish there. Uh, was double agent always in that conversation circle? I swear they weren't. No, they do join right at the end. Graash, honestly, like again, this is another instance where Graash
Banana red.
gets lucky, then unlucky, and then kind of fortunate again. But overall, played it really well. But we were so close to timing out in that. We really needed double agent to come in exactly when they did.
And we really needed to hit that green test too.
True. Yes, that's right. Yeah, we had yeah. That's funny because sometimes what people will do is if they think the double agent is coming in, they'll actually start the white so that they would have enough time for it to come in here. But it's probably better if you can trust your green rate to just go for that. So uh, really interesting finish there because we were setting up for potentially a bug. Ambassador leaves. Double agent is on the way inside, takes kind of a long path, and then we get the contact in right as it happens. Wow. Okay, so almost that game could have gone so many different ways. Interesting the way that it did. Again, still don't know what the initial low lay was for.
Banana red.
But oh, and that's the other thing. Graash probably doesn't. Graash never knows he's low lit this whole game. There's no reason for him to think he's low lit. So that's the other reason he's probably avoiding things like picking up that swap there at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting.
So Graash does regain his 4-game lead as we head into pub this time. Another 3 of 7. And 2:45 on the clock, so that's like a pretty standard setup, I believe. And Hoffnung on Spy as Hare. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so this is probably Hoff's best shot for a quick little sweep to bring it a little bit closer in here. It's a very aggressive map, but I think that actually might play into Hoff's strengths a little bit. So curious to see here. We do start off well with a green test. Flirt often very problematic for this venue because again you do have so little time in here, and it looks like we're setting up for a timer flirt.
Yeah, sort of like gallery. This map or this venue doesn't look that big, but because there's a huge wall in the middle, it's deceivingly time consuming to get around, and that goes for the seduction targets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna be the last people in this conversation circle. We really need seduction target to stick around in here. SDA does join us. Double agent is gonna not be in that conversation circle for long. So now I'm just trying to think of what happens if we do hit this green, and we do. So we do have options now about what the play is. The simplest play is going for contact and inspect. But sometimes you can just rely on snipers being like sussing that out. But depends on whether or not we are suspected at all for having a finish there.
Yeah. So both statues have a fingerprint on them. So I was gonna say get a fingerprint somewhere else first and maybe finish on statue, but he is gonna go for that partial progress on the fingerprints plus the statue, and that does give us a couple of finishing opportunities.
One thing I'll say is I'm curious if Graash is going to give Hoff additional suspicion for staying there for 2 cycles. Because if you stay there for 2 cycles, it's just much more spy-like in a situation where there's a fingerprint on the stage. Ooh, we have a kind of a wonky redirect on the way into this back conversation circle, and for nothing, I think. Um, yeah, I think we're just maybe avoiding going directly into that contact zone. So we'll see. There is that briefcase in the back there that is gonna get grabbed sometime soon. I think we're gonna say that we were close enough to be a person that would be required to it. It's right on the edge. Here it
Yep.
is. There's fingerprint. We are the last second, so Graash I do think is gonna be tempted to not shoot here, and it does look like Hoff is gonna be able to pick up a nice, pretty clean win. Honestly, so agreed that the sequence it might be more pressure on the sniper for you to get that first fingerprint in there, finish the statue, but nevertheless, great pace wins us that game, and Graash felt more confident that Hoff would not have been able to that red dress would not have been able to finish the flirts by then. So
Yep.
great job, nice straightforward win.
Yeah, that early two flirt, I think definitely did us a lot of good, because I think Graash potentially is suspecting us and is simply waiting for a third flirt, but he's already done.
Exactly, and we have kind of like bated breath in the last 10 seconds there for a last second desperation banana bread. So silent game also playing into the strengths there.
Yep.
Oh, and of course,
Now,
we might be worried about, like, sorry, not worried. We might be expecting that the bug has to happen in that last second there.
yep. So now Graash back on Spy as Mr. A in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting at bar again and immediately demanding a drink, and we are going to delegate and cheese our way out of there.
We are not the cleanest version of the reject, because we weren't close enough to the bar to do the more. We do get a highlight on our way in there. Very interesting. Could be huge, obviously, if it's a known delegate. We do delegate to Smallman, so oh, we get a pub. Okay, that just. I mean, I guess I can't blame Grosh in there, right? Because it's pub. If somehow that bug comes off really clean, you have a really fun opportunity to go contact before the. Well, I guess actually, do we have an opportunity to contact? No double agents inside, so we couldn't finish while the purloin was happening, probably, but we would be able to like put other pressure on there. So Grosh tries to take a big swing, but Hoff on top of it, and probably because of the early highlight that we had that we're watching so closely.
Yep. I don't, maybe there was some pathing as well. I know like Twin got low lit for, bumping into Damon, I think. But yeah, Graash takes a big swing and then gets shot for his literal big swing as he tries to bug. So now,
Absolutely.
with things still with actually Hoffnung has brought it a little bit closer with that hair win on Spy. So this is very much within, still winnable for Hoffnung as we go into Library, which is quite sniper-sided, but we have a slightly different than standard setup, and we'll see how the Spies fare. Hoffnung on Twin, Bling Twin, 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I will say I expect that Grosh has played this setup before, and I'm not sure if Hoff has. Um, so we'll see what happens there. Ooh, and really early highlight on Hoffnung there, potentially just for joining at next in between. Gets taken back. Never mind. I guess maybe it's just for a highlight for potential like book grab and cheese, or twin differentiation highlight. I don't know, but regardless, it's not there anymore. So no worse for wear.
Yeah, I think you're right about maybe just some cheese protection. Um, and Hoffnung does add some time. So one of the differences with this setup is that, yes, you have one less mission to do, but you also have, I think, like a minute less time. So that gives us a little more breathing room.
Yeah, and how many guests are on this? It doesn't feel super empty, which is good, because sometimes I think the mistake that can happen with the any 4 of 8 setups is that you take too many guests off, and then it just makes library kind of boring. So this feels pretty full. Maybe one or two guests got taken out. I can't really tell. Actually, it feels like everybody. This feels like everybody.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty full venue. And we just put the book back innocently as we step into statue now. And now we get a legitimate highlight.
Something I really haven't realized is that I really do know all of these characters. Like I feel like I have a sense of just like we've seen these, I guess if you count Toby and Damon, 22, 23 characters. But like I've just seen these characters so many times that I'm just like nobody feels like they're missing. That's how I can kind of like tell when how many people are like in a venue. So I feel like yeah, everybody's here. It's the party that I've always seen, that group of friends that always hangs out, and they're all here together.
The usual suspects.
Exactly. Ooh, red contact.
Banana
Okay,
bread.
let's see where we are. Ooh, God, just the end of that cough animation. Oftentimes, red contact won't be a game ender. You know what? The awful thing about the I actually think that this should
Banana
be
bread.
changed. The text that pops up for cough, I actually wish it wouldn't pop up so soon because if you get used to this
Banana
enough,
bread.
you are able to like know that a cough that a hand is up at that moment before the actual cough you register the sound of a cough happening and you just look for a hand next to a mouth. I mean, it's a red test, so it's supposed to be bad, all that kind of stuff. But I think the visual cue is a little too fast.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because it's probably synced with the sound file, but the sound file has a bit of a startup. And we're probably trying to just cover a purloin attempt with the BB, but it actually gets the sniper to watch us even more closely. And yeah, that hand is quite visible.
Well, too bad there, and I'll be real sad if these are two really quick games that just got lost for normal reasons because I really think this venue is interesting. So, uh, I am rooting for Huff for the sake of. Actually, I guess I'm rooting for Huff kind of regardless because I was like, I want to see what a spy can do with his 84 of 8. But actually, it's more important for me that it's demonstrated that snipers can win on this venue because people kept saying back in the day like snipers couldn't win, and I so strongly disagree. Um, but anyways, Graash on Seek.
Yep. Let's see. Hopefully we get to see a bit more action with the 4 of 8. Graash, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Something also fun in there is that we did see a timeout, and that's the other thing with so timeouts in library have always been kind of like in this funny spot where it's like, yeah, you can go timeout, and often it's one of the venues that you can get some of the most free timeouts on, but also who cares? It's kind of like Veranda. Veranda you can also get some pretty good timeouts off on, but like if you still have to do 5 missions, it just often doesn't give you that much. Because of the ability to just work backwards from 8 on your guard as a sniper. We do get an early flirt here. Screen test gets us some good progress, but we're pretty far away, so not even close to a 2 flirt in there.
Yeah, I know some people, like a strategy I've seen on venues like Veranda particularly is, spies just don't do anything except for time ad and just mount more pressure onto the sniper in that way. And we seem to have gotten Lolit again.
We do seem to have gotten Lolit, and I'm curious what this, of course, what that strategy is, because like we probably didn't do anything that was etiquette based. Oh, we get brought back up, so maybe it's like the it is just a weird venue to do that kind of thing. But sometimes players will have these like lists of conditions that they do a low light for. They're like, I'm gonna low light, and then if this next thing happens, it sticks, and they put the low light in like short term memory. And then if they follow through with an AI like behavior, it confirms the low light, and if they do something else, they bring them back up. But just usually on venues like library where there's so much going on, usually players don't play around with their low lights and highlights so much.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who likes to play around with their lowlights a lot, I can sympathize with that, and I can also see why he would just bring it back up, because, like you said, there's like too many guests to keep track of, and you don't want to overload your memory too much.
Yep, absolutely. And another low light on on Twin that went next to, oh god, Graash shaking their screen because they did not quite stand close enough, and for
Banana
no good
bread.
reason either. And they fake in frustration, which is actually not the worst thing. It's not a terrible fake. Just like because you know you're behind on time a little bit, throwing in something in there, it's not the end of the world. We are going to go for tricky time at spot. We are a little bit visible behind here. Hoff's laser is staying here. We do confirm that Seek left, and Hoff might have just caught us. But we're not watching this fingerprint over here, so maybe Hoff didn't catch us.
Yeah, it might just be something he's committing to memory as we seem to be watched walking across here. But we take a fingerprint. We're almost finished with flirt. Any distance will finish it. And we are joining a double agent conversation, maybe hoping for a good opportunity to BB.
Yeah, if we do BB, it does knock out some important people for
Banana
us,
bread.
though, which is just like something you can never really anticipate as a spy. So it does knock out the statue visitors on the far side, which Hoff was concerned about. It knocks out Teal, who they're watching pretty closely, and there's not any highlights left after that. Oh, sorry, that's not true. That's not true. Tex and Rocker. But they didn't seem like they were super high. Texas ambassador, only Rocker. Rocker's the only highlight left out of the after the contact. So depending on what we do here, we do still have some real threat here for Graash, even though we still have a minute left.
Yeah, and we do finish up fingerprints, and that's not getting us shot, so it seems like we might be just going for a bug finish, at least as an option. Oh, there it is, the standing bug, hoping that he would catch the sniper looking elsewhere, but he does catch us just in time.
Indeed, it's library, the fastest venue for snipers to move their laser around because they require no pivoting, which is the slow, or sorry, it's all pivoting and none of the sidestepping. So they're a slow one. So able to potentially even bait something out there. And good on Hoffnung for being aware of the potential finishers and the threats there, and is able to pick up a win on what was a pretty solid game. Obviously, we kind of really bet it big on the bug finish there, but very winnable. And that's 2 sniper wins on any 4 of 8 library.
They're proving you right.
That's right. I consider the matter closed. It's over. We're done with any 5 of 8 library. It was always bad.
Yes, one game, not enough data, 2 sufficient sample size.
Exactly. I agree.
And on we move to 3 of 7, high rise. Back on Smallman is Hoffnung. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I do look forward to like any 5 of 9 variants. Like I do like the idea of a spy having to do 5 missions. It just has so much activity in there. It just has to be on situations that are easier for the spy to get away with. It just any 5 of 8, any 5 of 8 for Handa is just awful. But okay, if people do get wins, it's not impossible, but it's just not fun. But we're not on that. We're on A3 of 7 high rise, and I was curious if we had to include either swap or transfer, but we actually include
Banana
both
bread.
of them anyways, and we take out fingerprint, which is surprising to me.
Yeah, normally you would expect one of the hard tells to be knocked out. But Hoffnung, especially because he's been going for a lot of fingerprints in this set, and he's voluntarily decided to leave that out of the pool.
One thing that is true about having microfilm in and fingerprints out is that oftentimes you'll be doing double duty on watching books for fingerprints. And so people can slip by on books because you'd actually have to be putting attention into something that is only relevant for a microfilm, which is kind of unlikely because microfilm is just so bad on this map. So sometimes you can do a bit of a Yomi play of going for microfilm without fingerprints because of the lack of that additional um, vision on those. So maybe that will come into play, but regardless, it's still any 3 of 7, so there's still lots of stuff going on for the venue.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that Graash is at 8 points now, which means this is match point for Hoffnung, and he
And
gets a bug, and I think it's clean.
Yeah, it's a very so it's basically path alone. The bug is very buried, right? Because that space in between where Ambassador is and the couch is pretty thin, so it's just good. Like you get to leave there, and you would just have to believe that the spy could have bugged there. So we are one flirt away, and that's it. We'll see if we're able to get that. It's all going to rest on whether or not Graash is really worried about that bug. We are going to be having to talk back here, so this might look like flirts, even if it's not with our actual seduction target. Seduction target being a bit of a pain and going to bookshelf, and we just took a drink, so we'd have to gulp and to join. And if seduction target walks away with that book to a pad, that's going to be really difficult for us. But it looks like they're putting it back.
Yeah, hopefully not. We don't have to chase them too ridiculously from the sniper's eyes. Oh, it looks like we're just gonna have to switch conversations here, and it's gonna have to be a relatively early talk, first 10 seconds or so, which is when spies do like to talk. But if we're not being suspected for the pairing, it looks like we're gonna get away with it.
And like it's nerve wracking because it's right at the end, but I do think that Hoff made the right call of just going for it. Like talking at exactly 10 seconds is always a risky position to put yourself in as spy, because you've put yourself in that spot. They might shoot you because they feel desperate, but I am glad that Hoff played to the strengths of their game there and puts together pretty straightforward and gets solid win. Great choices. Like there didn't need to be a ton of execution on that. Just the choice to bug when they did just worked out for them. And they also didn't do anything wrong with sticking out their arm afterwards, doing the wrong side, anything like that. Just a nice, clean bug and transition to the other conversation circle.
So Hoffnung staying alive for now, playing for overtime on Sniper, Graash on Kane. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And actually, I didn't even realize when we switched conversation circles and got that bug, we actually joined right next to our seduction target. So we could have actually had a really quick finish in there if a seduction target didn't leave. So that game was almost a really clean win, and it just became a little bit riskier when seduction target almost messed with us a little bit too much.
Yeah, we had good luck in the earlier games. That time it was a little hairy, but Graash is now going to start his flirt. He's been pretty good with the green test so far. Let's see what he gets here. Another green.
And to note here, we have turned off transfer. I would consider that to probably be the most common for this setup, 83 of 7. But I am curious if that came into play at all during the last game, was having to watch transfer a little bit closer. In fact, because transfer is off, we might consider joining. We could have considered joining our seduction target at books because there's a little bit less suspicion on those. But it seems like it's a good idea that we didn't, because our seduction target is highlight for, I believe, a center statue visit at the beginning of the game. They're visiting statues again. Interesting. I'm curious how that will work out for Graash. Well, certainly our seduction target has finished in specs. Maybe we even go for something like a frame on our seduction target here.
Yeah, it would not be a bad idea. It could even look like a spy going back to finish in specs, and now they're going to the window. We could even frame a time ad if we really wanted to, but looks like we're just gonna go for a smudge print, I think, here.
Indeed.
And, yeah. Of course,
And
we
we
hit
pick
that.
it up. Yeah, green. Has Graash green test rate always been this high? I don't know if I don't think I've clocked him as a really good green test rate spy, but he seems to be really on fire today. I don't know if that's standard for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's above average, but this is, yeah, he's having a good day for sure.
All right, well, we're back next to our seduction target again here, and I'm actually curious to see if our seduction target talks next to us, because we could look like the flirt pair. Okay, here's the talk on Boots. Boots really a contender for getting shot here. when the contact goes off, because Boots could have two-footed, or sorry, no, maybe not even two-footed, maybe even three-footed with us. But Boots could have seduced us, and they have inspects. And again, if they're in a conversation circle with Double Agent, could be real tempting there. We do finish up our own fingerprint, and then I guess the ideal situation here is if a Double Agent goes into that back conversation circle, but seduction target actually leaves, so we won't have the ideal situation. We could try to throw a contact in there to get credit. We throw a fake out instead. We are being hovered over. It doesn't seem like Hoff is biting on this last second banana bread. We are going to purloin instead. Purloin does go off. Hoff is not actually looking super closely at the purloin. Hoff needs to look at the purloin. Hoff is looking near us. Hoff is not deciding. Hoff is actually going to shoot white, even though Hoff was on top of it. That was so close, and Graash is going to take it. Hoff actually had that game. Hoff truly had it. I just don't think they were expecting, of all things, the purloin. I think that they were worried about Papa Danger going over for a last second bug. So the choice there at the end to throw in a purloin, which again could have also been us or Queen, gets white dress shot, which makes me think that the purloin just wasn't seen at all.
Yeah, or I think the actual purloin was not seen, and I don't think it was even easily seen. Like, there was pretty good cover for it when Toby turns around. So white or green probably not on his mind, and maybe the fact that the Double Agent not joining at the end was a blessing in disguise for Graash. I think Hoffnung simply wasn't expecting that finish and thought someone from the real conversation must have greened.
Yeah, I think that well, the way that it looks like, just from my perspective, is it looks like plausibly somehow White could have gotten a bug on their way through or something. Because the way that Graash, by the way, Graash actually had a pretty nice little finish here, because we were able to put something together kind of halfway decent out of a pretty tough situation where Double Agent wasn't available for us. So Queen, who was Hylet, rejects at the end, and we immediately take the purloin after, putting us, even if we saw the purloin, if Hoff was completely on top of it, in a 50-50 with saw it enough to only see that it was a purloin, not enough to see that it was a white test, would put us in a 50-50 with Queen. But then neither us nor Queen actually get shot at the end there. So again, Graash enjoying playing against what would be the common finish, working out well for him, and making it so that we're just able to take it. And yeah, long set. So just stuff goes wrong the longer that players play. So unfortunately for Hoff there, couldn't quite finish it out. But a really reasonable showing here. What was it? 9-7, 9-8, 6, something like that.
9-7, yeah, went the distance.
9-7. So nothing to be ashamed of there. Nice showing against Graash. And I'd say maybe even beat the spread, I would say, versus Graash. I would have put Graash at like a 9-5, 9-6. So I think Hoff showed real good strength there, going the distance versus a top player, and getting that fourth place finish here at Winter Cup 2025. Yeah, I was saying, do we call it 2025? I don't know when it started. It might have technically started in 2024.
Yeah, so third place for Graash, fourth place for Hoffnung, both great results, I would say. And like you said, Hoffnung outperforming his predictions for most people, I would say.
Absolutely. So congrats to both on nice solid runs through Winter Cup. And then I imagine, Bonsai, do we know when the finals are going to be happening?
Yes, it will be announced in any minute, because it will be on Sunday, this Sunday, so in 2 days, around the same time like we have.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. So that will be Astatine versus Firelord Ethan, two players that have just been on I was gonna say on fire, but that is unfair to ask. On fire or on effect, I don't know what to throw in the other one. They have been doing real well over the last year. Both of them have looked in top form, so that will be very exciting.
Yeah, I believe it's a Summer Cup rematch, right, of the finals?
That is a rematch. Yes, that's right. Yeah, we'll see if so Summer makes sense for Firelord Ethan to win. I don't know if I actually don't know what Astatine means. I should actually have Googled that someday. If that has something to do with cold, then I think that they would be at the advantage.
Yeah, I believe it's a chemical element. I'm not sure um, what it would correlate with temperature-wise, but
You're right, it is one, and I'm going to guess then that I guess you're not supposed to touch it. It's radioactive. Well, we're just going to say you have to keep it cold. Astatine winner 2025, you heard it here.
that's the kind of analysis you get the big bucks for.
Exactly, that is true. Well, thank you all for coming out, and thank you for the people putting the tournament together. Always fun to see these tournaments with this long history keep on going, and we look forward to the games on Sunday. Oh, and of course, this has been Spy Party. You can purchase the game at spyparty.com. You can also just Google Spy Party. It's probably the first thing that pops up. I don't know. If you're here, there's a way for you to find it. It's a great game. I would say if you do join this, definitely find us on the Discord. That is where nearly all of the discussion for the game happens. It's where this tournament was put together. It's where conversations around strategy happen. So definitely hop in there with us if you do join the community.